Jackson Arnold's getting a ton of love, but hey, don't forget about Deuce Knight.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off, and you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. Happy Wednesday. We're going to talk more quarterbacks, but this time we're going to talk about Deuce Knight. Jackson's been getting a ton of love. There's no doubt about that. A lot of high praise from Hugh Freeze, a lot of high praise from other analysts, but an Auburn staffer had a lot of good things to say about Deuce Knight as well, and we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about where Auburn goes in the transfer portal in basketball to finish out their roster as they sort of have to make a change of plans on big man. We'll talk about all that in just a second, but before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to mybookie.ag. Go to mybookie.ag, use coupon code BARN, B-A-R-N, for a 50% deposit bonus all the way up to $1,000. Give them $100. They're going to give you 50 back free to play with. Then you can hit that sports book, that huge sports book. If you're a playoff hockey person, it's getting big and big and big. I need to try it out. Playoff basketball, doesn't matter. They got the sports line for you. Easy deposits, easy withdrawal. Check them out. It's mybookie.ag. Let's jump right into it. So, again, a lot of the praise has been hyped around Deuce Knight. And I got something. I'm sorry, Jackson Arnold. And Deuce, we are forgetting about Deuce Knight and the great spring he had, and it gets some recognition as Will Redmond goes on 3, JD Piquel's show, and they talk Deuce Knight. Let's watch the clip and jump right in.
Got to have Deuce Knight on our show when he was going into his senior year of high school, and one of the things that struck me was just the it factor that he carries himself with, the face, the franchise feel that he gives off. What were your impressions of him, and what were your impressions of him so far throughout spring practice, wrapping up here in the last couple of weeks?
You spend any time with Deuce Knight and you realize very quickly that you're dealing with a highly capable and mature individual, right? In any scenario, in any room he walks in, he can meet with folks. He can hold conversations. He's confident. He's poised. You know, I love the cerebral nature of that for him as a quarterback and being able to handle when the picture shifts and changes, right, from the quarterback perspective. And I think what has been so neat is watching his growth and development under Ken Austin, right, and Jesse Stone here and Coach Freeze, Coach Nix, our offensive staff. I mean, he has just taken to it like a sponge. And it's because he's willing to do the work, and he has the football character that we believed he had throughout the recruiting process. And he comes from a wonderful family, and just who he is as a person, people naturally are drawn to. And we are very fortunate to have him on this roster and in this locker room because just by being himself, right, he elevates those around him. He makes you a better person just by being in the same room with him. And he's an awesome kid, man. I am so excited to see him on this team for years to come. It's really exciting.
It's good to hear about her. Good to hear that kind of stuff from Will Redmond. Obviously, everybody knows I'm a big fan of Will Redmond and what he's done at Auburn and just how he sort of reshaped this roster in a very short amount of time. But I want to give everybody a thought. I want you to think about this. It's okay for Auburn to have 2 good quarterbacks, and it's okay for you to like both. It seems like over the past several years, if you like one quarterback, you automatically hate the other. And if you like one quarterback, you're an apologist and you're a hater for the other. It's okay to like both. Auburn's got 2 really good quarterbacks on campus right now. 2 really good quarterbacks that one maybe just a little bit more advanced than the other, but 2 good quarterbacks that Auburn could have successful seasons with at different points in time. So this time is Jackson's time, and then eventually Deuce is going to have his shot as well. If Auburn can keep him involved and keep him happy, it's okay to like both quarterbacks. You don't have to pick one. It doesn't have to be a fight. If you love Deuce Knight, that doesn't mean you can't love Jackson Arnold. If you love Jackson Arnold, that means you don't have to hate Deuce Knight. We don't have to have a polarized quarterback situation. Auburn's in a scenario where you got two really good quarterbacks. Two really good quarterbacks at different points of their career. The best things about that clip that I enjoyed are when a young kid comes in, you really worry about the business side of it. You worry about the professionalism side of it because all these kids are talented. I mean, all these kids probably were really good in high school. They got the tools, but do they come in and put the work in to get the job done? And also, if they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, sometimes at a young age, that can be very discouraging and make you to where you're not completely locked in because, hey, I don't have a chance. The things that Will said there made me feel like, A, Deuce is part of the plan, and B, that Deuce has enough maturity about him to understand that this is going to be a little bit more, not quite a marathon, but a little bit more of a marathon than a sprint, and I'm okay with that. Those traits are really rare, okay? And to think about as unlucky as Auburn was on the field last year, and by the way, if you're, this is kind of a sidebar, you need to check out Justin Ferguson at the Observer. If you're not a subscriber there, he put out a great article about Auburn last season. He paints a really good picture with statistics. There's statistic guys, and then there's guys that can tell a story with statistics. He has a really good article about Auburn's quote unquote luck last year and how they were much closer to, 8-4 than they were 5-7 at times. But I digress. As unlucky as Auburn was on the field last year, the way the quarterback situation in recruiting went, they ended up incredibly lucky because it could have gone horribly wrong. I mean, let's just be honest. You tried, you had about 3 or 4 different misses before you finally pivoted back to Deuce Knight, and you may have ended up with the best quarterback out of all of them. And you had to work for it, and you had to fight for it. But I think it's going to pay off. Now, I know that a lot of people are already thinking about Deuce and the future. And you got to really think about this because the most Deuce is probably going to play at Auburn. The max, I guess, would be 3 years. If he takes over this year, if he's good enough to take over this year, he's probably only going to be here 3 years. More than likely, he's going to be a 2-year guy. Well, Jackson also is a 2-year guy. So when you're talking about the future, it's not like you have a one and done quarterback and then Deuce steps in. Like you got the future kind of right here too with Jackson. So I think everybody needs to understand that and be patient with this whole process because I think, again, I keep saying it, but I think Auburn has 2 really good quarterbacks on campus. And I'm excited to see Deuce continue to progress. I want to see, this is another thing I want to see. Deuce didn't really experience a ton of adversity in spring up until the last couple of practices when Jackson got hurt and he had to go in with the first team. And that's when he started to kind of turn the ball over, which is understandable because everything's moving a lot faster when you go from second team to first team. I want to see how he rebounds from that and carries that over into fall camp. I think that'll be very important for his development. So taking that like your last taste of football before you go into the quote unquote off season was throwing 2 or 3 interceptions in front of, several thousand people. So how does he rebound? If you take what Will says to JD Piquel, hey, he's got the maturity. He's mature beyond where he already is, beyond his years, and he's very professional and he's doing the stuff off the field that he needs to do. I want to see how he carries over into fall camp because I think that'll be very important. We're going to talk about what does a successful season look like for Deuce this upcoming year. I think that's something that a lot of people have been discussing. What does Deuce's year look like? We'll talk about that in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to rowback.com. Use coupon code BUTTON20 to take 20% off your order. If you're ready for the summer, man, they got you covered. Swim trunks, swimsuits, whatever you want to call them, bathing suits. There's a lot of different things you can call it. They got it for guys. I tell you another thing they got that's kind of cool. You can get matching shirts for your kids. So like if it's a guy and you got a young son, you can order the printed polo that matches. How dope is that? Like you can have a really cool polo for you and your son. Super cool. But you can save big at the same time. Use coupon code BUTTON20 again to take 20% off your order. We'll be back right after this. What does a successful year look like for Deuce Knight? I think a lot of this depends on this ruling. And really it shouldn't, but I think it will. The ruling on what they do with eligibility. Because one of the big talks is do away with red shirts and just give everybody 5 years blanket eligibility, which I think is probably the best compromise to infinite eligibility. From if you play D2, none of that should count. And then if you ever transfer up, you get basically start off as a freshman. So I guess in theory, you could go play 4 years D2 and come in as a 22-year-old freshman if you were to transfer up. I guess in theory, that could be the way that worked out. So I think the good compromise would be to just go to a blanket 5 years, no red shirt. If that happens, I think you probably see a little bit more of Deuce. If it doesn't happen, I think you'll probably see maybe see a red shirt. It's hard to say. I personally don't see the value of a red shirt with Deuce because I just don't see him being here 5 years. I just don't think I think he's too good to be here 5 years, even if he only gets 1 year to play. I just think I think he's going to be that good. He's got all the physical tools to be, an NFL player. He may be a 2-year college player. He may have to play he may have to play 4 years, put 2 seasons together. And also, I don't know that it could go the other way as well. If he's here 5 years, is he competitive enough to be a championship quarterback? Or are you trying to find another replacement in the portal or through high school or whatever? Regardless, I don't see any value in redshirting him. I think he's too good. But I can I can see it happening. I'm not the GM, I'm not the coach. But what do I expect? I mean, what would I like to see? What I would like to see is Deuce be the number 2 guy. What I would like to see is, hey, Ashton Daniels, I'm so happy that you came. What a great security blanket to have in case of maybe an early injury. And maybe you can try to salvage a season and, whatever. I'm so happy that you got him, but I think Deuce needs to be number 2. So that means when you get up, if you get a lead, Deuce comes in. If you get a good lead, Deuce is the first one off the bench, not Ashton Daniels. If there's an injury, I'd love to see. Again, it depends on the timing of the season. And if you feel like you can win more games with Ashton Daniels than Deuce Knight early in the season, I may go with Ashton Daniels. If it's later, I may roll with Deuce. But as far as taking reps, Deuce Knight in practice. Taking game reps with second-team quarterback, Deuce Knight. That's got to be – that's what I would love to see. To me, that would be the most ideal scenario to sort of expedite his development. So we'll see what happens, but a lot of good stuff. Don't get caught up in this got to pick a side. It does not have to be that way. You can love both. You can like both. I think Auburn's got 2 really, really good quarterbacks. Let's talk basketball before we finish it up. It seems like, per things that I've read and confirmed, things that I've heard and then confirmed with guys like Justin Hokanson on 3, that Auburn is moving on from James Scott, the big man from Louisville. That seemed like there was a lot of momentum, came in on a visit, I believe, this past weekend. And I think his asking price was a little bit higher than what his value was. That's what it seems like anyway. So obviously Auburn's going to pivot and move on. You only got 10 scholarships, and that's assuming Tahad comes back, which we feel like he'll come back. So you're definitely looking to add, at least one more guy, maybe 2. Remember, though, let's don't panic, okay? Remember, though, Miles Kelly committed to Auburn, I think, towards the end of May 26th of last year or something like that. So there's still time, and there's guys out there. There's international guys that you can, evaluate. There's still some JUCO guys out there you can evaluate. I think Chad Baker-Mazara was a guy that was added pretty late in the process as well. So there's still time to find that guy. So it's a hard sell, though. I mean, imagine in college basketball, guys in the portal. It's very similar to what the spring portal was for Auburn football. You have 10 guys. Okay. So in theory, you got probably a starting 5 already in there. So you're not going to add another starter. You're kind of going to add, more quality depth, to get in that rotation. So that's kind of tough. Some of these guys are leaving situations like that where they already were rotational pieces. So they're looking for more playing time. So it gets tougher and tougher to finish out a roster. That's why that 85 number is tough to get to in college football now. That 11 and 12 number is going to be just as tough for college basketball because there's just not enough minutes to go around. I know Auburn's run some 10 deep rotations at time, but honestly, Auburn last year when they went to the Final Four, you're talking what, 7, 8 at best, and the 8 was really just guys playing 3 or 4 minutes, coming in, but a heavy 7-man rotation. So that's how many people. That's like 4 or 5 dudes that just aren't getting any playing time. So it gets tough. It gets tough to fill out a roster. So we'll have to see what happens. I think Bruce, that they do an unbelievable job at scouting. They really do. I mean, I know there's been some misses like JP Pegues, but gosh, think of all the hits. I mean, just look at literally the rest of the team last year. They nailed every single one of them. And I would imagine guys that were not getting a ton of big-time college basketball looks. So you got to trust Bruce. You got to trust that staff. They're going to find what they need. It just may take some time. You just have to be patient and watch it. Make sure you check out the Barn Hoops podcast with Jacob Hillman. The first episode with him running the show drops today. I don't know that he's necessarily going to talk about big man recruiting, but he'll definitely keep you in the loop as far as basketball goes, and we'll try to do our best here as well. So Auburn's definitely still looking to add some pieces in the portal in basketball. We're just going to have to be patient to see how it plays out. Guys, really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Definitely make sure to check out mybookie.ag. Take advantage of that deposit bonus. BARN, BARN, is the code. And we're going to be back every single day. If you like the video, like it. If you like the channel, subscribe to it. Let me know what you think about Deuce. What's a successful season for Deuce Knight? I think number 2. He's got to be the solid number 2 guy. And I think that will yield big-time success next year and in the future. So let me know what you think in the comments. We'll be back again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.